you all to listen up, because I'm going to talk about 3 crucial things that I want you to remember for the rest of your life. Number one, be careful who you call your friend. Because everybody that claims that they're your friend, your mellow, your dog, your coon, whatever you call yourself, they are not your friends. If you think I'm telling a fib, you just wait until the hot water is turned up in your life. Do everybody hear me? Watch who you call your friends. Because everybody that say that they're your friends are not your friends. And when you get in trouble, when things get heated up in your life, those so-called friends are nowhere to be found. Nowhere. Now, listen up. You have to test whoever you say is your friend. When was the last time they genuinely helped you without asking for anything? Just helped you because you're their friend and they have no other genuine interest but just being your friend. You have to ask yourself those questions. A friend don't get another friend in trouble. So when 2 people are doing something they're not supposed to be doing, one of them, if they're their other's friend, will correct them and say, hey, look, man, we shouldn't be doing this. Let's do something better. Now, if that person says, man, you scared, you coward, you punk, you tell them, if I got to be all that to be your friend, guess what? I don't want to be your friend. And you give them the hand and keep on stepping. Y'all understand? Yeah. How many of y'all gave somebody a hand before? You give them a hand and you keep on stepping, because friendship does not mean that we got to get in trouble together. Friendship does not mean that you're not going to stop me from getting in trouble. Everybody understand? Pizza? Everybody understand? Okay, so be careful who you call your friends. And I want you all to repeat after me. Say no to drugs. Say no to guns. It's very important that you remember that. Because when I was 12 years old, I stole my grandmother's gun and I took it to school. I got caught with that gun, I got arrested, and I got kicked out of all Detroit public schools. So I know what it's like to live in that mindset that in order for me to be tough, in order for me to validate my existence as a man, as a goon, as a thug, I have to carry a gun to make everybody think that I'm tough. I know the language, I know the mindset. I didn't read it in the book. No one taught me that. I lived that as a 12-year-old. So I know the dynamics of what's going on in your mind. I'm telling you to say no to guns. At 9 years old, I started selling crack cocaine because my 13 and 14-year-old so-called friend neighbors taught me how to manufacture crack cocaine. So at 9 years old, I was selling weed and I was selling crack cocaine, and my mother knew nothing about it. Those so-called friends were later killed the next summer. 16 and 15 years old, 2 brothers. I'm telling you something that I know personally. I didn't learn this in a workshop. I didn't learn this in a seminar. I have 2 degrees, a bachelor's and a master's, and I didn't learn that in college. I learned that because I lived that. I don't want any of you having to live the mistakes, the misfortunes, and the poor decisions that I live and that many people that I know live. The purpose of history is so that you can learn from the mistakes of others so that you won't repeat the same thing. But surely if you repeat the same thing that's already been presented before you, you're considered to be dumb. And there are no dummies in here, am I correct? Yes. None of you are dummies, am I correct? Yes. You are smart, intelligent human beings. The best of God's creation, do not forget that. Say no to drugs. Say no to guns. Now, there are some people in our community that's flooding our schools with guns, or the neighborhoods around some of our schools with guns. If you know anybody that have a gun in school, I am telling you, do not snitch, just tell. Do you understand? I'll say it again. If you know anybody that is carrying a gun in school or around the school, do not snitch, just tell. Hold on. Somebody just, I know we had 9 students shot coming from Cody. A 13-year-old girl was shot in the head. They just finally caught him. Some men who walked the community like myself and the other 50 brothers that was with me. A young man just shot another lady. He was 12 years old. Let me make sure I'm in the right room. Don't snitch, just tell. Don't snitch, just tell. is not snitching. If they do something to your child, they're doing it to my child. If they're doing something to your grandchild, that's my grandchild. If somebody rob or break into your grandmama's house, that's my grandmama too. This is a community. And community is built on togetherness. Don't ever forget that. Don't snitch, just what? Yeah. Don't snitch, just what? Yeah. Don't snitch, just what? Yeah. If you see anybody, I don't care if you think that's your homeboy, your homegirl, your mellow, your ace-boom-boom with a gun in school or around the school, or if you see anybody have a sack of weed and thinking it's cool to try to blow some weed in the school, because I've been through the schools, I go through the schools all the time, and I smell the weed smoke in the bathroom or in the janitorial closet or in the auditorium. If you smell that, if you know somebody that's doing that, let me tell you something. This is something that Young Jock, Young Jeezy, Young Gucci Mane, 50 Cent, Ja Rule, Ludacris, Snoop Dogg, they'll never tell you this about weed. Each time you smoke weed, you destroy your brain cells. And your brain cells are the only cells in your body that do not grow back. You didn't know that, did you? Say, what happens if you get a scratch on your hand, right, young man? You get a fresh scratch today, and tomorrow, what happens? How does that scratch look? It starts healing, right? It's got a little yellow scab on it, right? Those are cells of the body that go to it when the body is hurt or when the body is injured. You have cells in your body. And they go straight to that point and they begin the healing process. That's why you get a scab. How many of y'all scratch your scab on? Raise your hand. Y'all better not stop. You'll believe that scab alone. That'll heal up. But listen, those cells regenerate the body. So something happened to you physically, the cells immediately rush to that area so it can start the healing. The brain cells, once they're gone, after you finish smoking your weed and looking cool and talking about some izzle, dizzle, fizzle, and nizzle, blah, that's because you ain't got no brain cells. But once the brain cells are gone, they don't grow back. At the peak, when you reach your maturity, you know how many brain cells you get? If you live it right, you get 14 billion brain cells. 14 billion. Some of us, by the time we turn 16, we done lost about 7 billion trying to smoke weed and keep up with the other dummies. It is not smart or cool to smoke weed. I'm against any rapper who promotes that. Any rapper. And I can stand alone on that. Because that's not promoting any good or benefit towards yourself. We don't need a whole lot of people in our community smoking weed, talking dumb, looking stupid, ain't got nothing, don't want nothing, and want to take what you got for what you want. We don't want those, do we? We don't want those kind of people, do we? Don't snitch, just what? Yeah. Don't snitch, just what? Yeah. If you see anybody with guns or drugs, I can't emphasize.